And we have finally hit a major milestone with the Nike Vomero 18. We're at 200 plus miles. Is this shoe done and over with? Let's talk about it and see what's going on. So before we get into the video, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're subscribed watching content, thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of other updates and things of that sort. So without further ado, let's begin. Specs for the shoe somewhere where you can see them. And we will kick it off with our foams, outsoles, rubber under the shoe, and just kind of leave off from where we discussed last on the shoe, plus some of your feedback, which in this case I agree a lot with, depending on, contextually what we're speaking of, right? So, main things to discuss at, again, 200 plus miles. This is a significant life cycle milestone for a shoe. If you can get it to about 200 plus miles, on average, this is a good, or just your average-esque running shoe. It's at a length where it's not going to die at about 100 miles, contingent to your running style and whatnot. But it just means that if you were to buy this for a satisfactory experience, you've kind of hit the mark with this, right? So, main things to discuss with this shoe. I'm having similar issues with this Vomero, or issues or wear and tear, however you want to, look at it. I'm beholder. Similar wear that I was having with the Vomero 16 when I had it 2-3 years ago when I was playing around with the Vomero series. A lot of flattening of the midfoot, forefoot area. Not a whole lot of wear and tear in the heel. Couple of reasons. Again, my running form is one of those things as to why the heel is like next to perfect across the shoe with just some ground contact, but nothing in particular that's unusual. But the mid and forefoot area is just taking a massive beat down, which, by the way, is good. This is expected. This is just how my running form works, and that's why this entire anterior side of the shoe is just cooked to the extent that it is. And by cooked, I mean there are no lugs left. We're almost exposing the foam. It's getting to a pretty critical zone in particular with this shoe. But as you can see, most of the impact is in this midfoot to anterior side of the shoe, which is what's expected and basically how my running form is working with this particular shoe. And the more mileage I put on to it, the more it's going to wear in this particular way. And the other thing to consider is that when I'm using this shoe for slightly longer runs, whenever my training plan calls for it, the time on feet and the temperature that the shoe is going to accumulate over the duration of the hour-long run or the 45 minutes that I'm on the feet is going to cause some of this foam to melt, right? And surface contingent too. Like if I'm running on black tarmac, it's definitely going to melt some of this rubber off or make it softer to basically crush into the shoe and get rid of these lugs, right? Because if you look at it, the design is very, I'm thinking of the word, it's not contradictory, it's a grippy texture, right? It's not a smooth road running surface thing. It's meant to grab into the ground. It's got tread, which is going to grind itself down because of what it is on this shoe, right? I think the Vomero is supposed to be this long distance running easy road run shoe, but it's also designed to be gravel friendly, maybe even trail friendly to an extent with how you want to play the lugs. But it's not smooth enough like a Puma Deviate Nitro, where the lugs of that kind of shoe, or the tread, or whatever you want to refer to it, will be as beaten up as this shoe is, right? And now if we look at the left foot, similar story. Again, the anterior side is almost completely smoothened out, marbled off. And then the forefoot area of the shoe, again, kind of beat up a little bit. The middle area of the foot, we just have that wear as if you were to hit the forefoot area of the shoe and then just kind of launch off. The rolling wear is not really completely on the shoe because, again, the heel kind of tells the same story, that whenever I'm running with this shoe, just because of its stack height and my running form, the attack surface is always going to be this midfoot to forefoot area whenever I run. That's just what it is. Rolling in a high heel shoe like this is just going to be awkward and not comfortable for at least me in particular, right? Now, you might have a better running form with this type of shoe, and based on what I read in the comments, some people ran more than 250, 300 plus miles in the shoe, and they don't have wear anywhere close to what I have on this Vomero, right? And it's possible it's because your wear is more let me think of the right word. It's more balanced. How about that? It's balanced across the shoes, rubber and foam compounds, whereas my strike zone is almost entirely in this midfoot area. Is that a problem? Depends. In the case of the Vomero, it looks like I just beat it up quicker than I'm supposed to. But maybe in that case, I need a shoe that has more reinforcement in the forefoot, doesn't need as much weight in the heel. It could be a lower stack height just slightly because, I don't need that high heel effect. I can spare a little bit of drop millimeter. I can spare a little bit of millimeter drop and have a little bit more roll if the shoe can provide that, right? Now, when we talk about the upper, everything seems to be in okay condition. Again, it's just a lot of material. It does kind of seep a lot of water, so it's hard to do two-a-days in this kind of shoe without letting it dry off and whatnot. Not a big deal. But tying the shoe down is okay for the most part. Nothing too difficult or significant about it that requires any sort of additional attention or repair at this time, right? And let's talk foams, last but not least. We also saw this in the comment section, read your guys' stuff loud and clear, and I do agree. Some of the major points here is that this Zoom X might not be like the Zoom X that we see with something like a Vaporfly Next Percent or an Alpha Fly, right? This might be a recycled compound, which I'm leaning it is, and as a result, the compound is not nearly as strong, as potent as the Alpha Fly version, and we get sort of a shadow of, or even like a shadow, a little bit of a taste of that Zoom X, but not quite what we're like used to if you've run with the racing models, right? Granted, the Zoom X also doesn't have the benefit of a carbon plate to work alongside it, so that's something else to also consider in this case, that this is an entirely Zoom X with React compound basically running the entire duration of this shoe, and yeah, as a result, you're losing a little bit of that energy push and return you would have otherwise been used to with the Alpha Fly. So with the foam in its current state at 200 plus miles, it's okay. It never was the greatest Zoom X foam to begin with, but it's okay, right? And I think we made that clear early on that this was not meant to be like an explosive Zoom X racing shoe. This is meant to be a slower, steady, long run type of shoe that'll be consistent and carry you through your workout at the pace that you should be taking it rather than a pace you can push into. So that being said, I've had a lot of consistent workouts in this shoe, nothing particularly fast, nothing groundbreaking, but the distance that I've been able to put in this thing has been surprising, right? So if I can go on like a 10-mile run and keep the pace significantly between like 8 minutes and like 7:40 pace, and that's like what I expected to do, and I do it, I'm like, oh snap, great, we got those paces down for like a progressive type of long run or a stable kind of target pace sort of thing. So that's just the things to consider, and yeah, if you keep that in mind and you keep your optimism kind of low with the expectations of speed from the Vomero 18, you'll be pleasantly surprised, right? Again, we know what the Vomero is supposed to be. It's not a race day shoe. It's that long run, easy style running shoe, and it can also double as a recovery shoe because of the amount of foam that's kind of maxed out on the shoe to give you as comfortable of a ride as possible. Last thing I would probably address is the wrinkling of the foam in this unique piece on the React X side of it. It's just sort of in this, we have this 3D model cut out here of the Zoom X like red piece, and then at the bottom you can see some of that wrinklage, probably from the React X foam just having a weak point on the shoe, right? Is it really impactful? Not really. It's just something I'm noticing as I'm looking at the shoe now. But yeah, 200 plus miles. It's not too crazy beat up, but it is getting to a point where if the foam starts fatiguing a lot more, it might just have to get shelved at like no more than 300 plus miles. You know what I mean? So I think we'll leave the Vomero 18 review at for now. So if you agree or disagree with the assessment, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I don't hate the shoe. I'm still pleasantly surprised at Nike's progression of keeping their products back on track versus the last 2 years that they've been putting stuff out that I've been like extremely miserable with. So they're kind of turning back the clocks a little bit and putting themselves back on track. So I expect better daily trainers from this point forward, right? Like the ball is kind of in motion, just don't drop it, right? So if you agree or disagree with the assessment, let me know in the comments below. If you have any experiences with the Vomero 18 that I might be missing out on, or any other questions I may have not answered, let me know. Let's discuss this shoe. It's an interesting piece, right? The Vomero 18 or the Vomero series, particularly the 18, have this like history of being that everyday long run type of shoe. So are we still there? I don't know. We have to kind of figure that out, I suppose. So I'll leave it at that. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.